This is the second trade I took in the FTMO challenge phase. It was on pound USD, and I took this trade on July 12th, 1:06 a.m. Pacific time. This is the daily chart right now. Let me show you the lower time frames and when exactly I entered and exited this trade. So the green vertical line is when I entered. I was following the 4-hour direction down, and I believe it was also down on the daily time frame. Yeah, these indicator lines are all angling down, so I took that as a confirmation. 4-hour was down, it broke support. 1 hour also broke support at the time. Let me show you my exact entries on the 5-minute time frame. So yeah, I entered this trade again at 1:06 Pacific time. That was near the London Open. So I was monitoring this pair for essentially the Asian session. It broke out towards the end of the Tokyo session and right at the beginning of the London Open. I was waiting for a retracement for a better entry, and I was seeing these candles here. There was some volatility, some fighting between the bulls and the bears, and eventually the bears broke through with this candle here, and that is when I entered. So I took about 40 pips of stop loss. My original stop loss was all the way up here at 1:18.74. Yeah, this area. And here was my exact entry at 1.1827. So the price initially, it actually retraced in the lower time frame, but it shows as a wick on the 5-minute chart. But the next 5-minute candle, it broke out. It went about 20 pips in my direction before forming a pin bar right here. And I was expecting it to retrace at some point, and I wanted to see it go down. But this retracement actually ended up going all the way to the top, to the pre-breakout level area. So I was watching for it to go back down again. We did have some selling action pushing it down, but it wasn't as quick as I thought it would be, and eventually it went into a range. And when I started looking for an exit opportunity was when it broke this trend line resistance up at around 2:20 a.m. Pacific time. So that is when I think I moved. No, I did not move my stop loss. I exited manually on this trade. But let me see in the 2-minute chart to see if I can remember when I exited. Sometimes I look at the 2-minute charts as well, in addition to the 5-minute chart, for a precise entry or exit opportunity. So yeah, in the 2-minute chart, it was testing this resistance trend line several times, and each time it failed to get pushed down lower. In fact, you can see it pretty much kept the same level at 1.1818. We see all these wicks here, and then one bullish candle with a wick at the bottom got pushed down a little bit at 2:20, and then the price closed above this trend line in the next 2-minute candle at 2:22 a.m. And then by the time I exited, I think it was on the beginning of this candle. So in total, I lost about 3 pips in this trade. It's actually very minimal concerning what happened to this pair in the end. Let me go back to the 5-minute chart so you can see what happened. But yeah, throughout the London session, it essentially retraced all the way. And then you can see by the time the New York session rolled around, it was essentially back to its previous level on the 5-minute chart. So this breakout turned out to be a fake, and on the daily time frame, you can actually see it turned into a doji pin bar, and yeah, this breakout did not happen. So considering what happened, I got out for a very cheap price, for 3 pips. And again, the 40 pips of stop loss that I took, that was about 2% of the entire account I was trading. So worst situation, if I just walked away from the charts, I would have lost 2%, but I got out for essentially 3 pips, which is nothing. So yeah, I'll continue to look for a second breakout opportunity to trade this pair, pound USD. But yeah, that did not happen yesterday. And here is the spreadsheet I'm using myself to track my own trades. I enter all my entries and exits manually just to keep a clean record. So you can see for this challenge, I'm starting with an initial deposit of 200,000. And to pass the FTMO challenge, you need to make 10% in order to consider yourself passed for the profit target. So my progress so far, for my first trade, I won 1 pip. That was about $110 gain. For my second trade, I lost 3 pips, so that equates to about a $260 loss. Keep in mind, these are just the raw profits from my trades. FTMO also charges a commission of about $3 per lot. So in the total, I'm sitting at about $199,771. But the dollar amount is actually irrelevant because the same profit target and the same rules apply to any tier that you choose for the FTMO challenge. So in my opinion, if you can afford the deposit, you should definitely always trade the maximum amount that they allow you in this challenge.